Hello, doctors. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me?
You're not audible. Can you please put
Yes.
on the mic?
Yes. Am I audible now? Dr. Veena? Dr. Singh? Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. You can start with your presentation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Namaste. This is Aruna Patki, Doctor of Ayurvedic Medicine, live from United States of America. Today morning, this is a 4:30 now. My lecture was at 4 a.m., so I'm ready for all of you. So let's begin. My topic is very interesting, which is the main objective of Ayurveda. Is like, let's understand this. Hold on. Let me see my slides. Okay. Next slide. Give me a second. My वो next. Okay, perfect. So my topic is the wellness through Ayurveda for breast cancer. Am I audible? Let me know, please. Dr. Veena?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. So, excuse me, it was some challenge, but here I am. So my topic is Ayurvedic approach for the breast cancer, and my interest is to talk about the preventative approach as well as the palliative approach in Ayurveda. So the cancer is a word which is mentioned in Ayurveda by the word arbuda under the term of granthi or arbuda. So when we would like to understand the concept of cancer, I would like to make you all aware of the concept of Ayurveda first. So what is Ayurveda? So as we all are into Ayurveda, or we all are doctors on this platform, I believe. So Ayurveda is a science where we have the concept, whatever is present in the nature is present into your body. As universe is macrocosm, we are the microcosm. That means we are a miniature of the nature. So whatever is outside is inside this body, which is called it as a Pindite Brahmandi concept, as we all know. So, okay. So, is there a way, as today's topic is breast awareness or the wellness for breast cancer through Ayurveda? So, as we see a lot of clients in our practice that who are going through the challenges on the breast, many of my clients they are going already through the therapies, which is called it as we know, the modern therapies, radiation and chemo and all the possible ways what they want to introduce themselves to take care during the sufferings through the cancer. And specifically, I'm going to talk about breast cancer. But to understand the breast cancer, I believe that we need to understand the basic concepts of Ayurveda for cancer. So let me start with this. Asatoma Sadgamaya, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let us lead us to the immortality. This is what the meaning of this shloka is. And the disclaimer is this is just for the general information. This is not meant to treat or do any personal changes on your own. So it's just a guideline through the Ayurveda in today's topic. So the objective of Ayurveda is very important. Ayurveda, as we know, this is one of the oldest medical system originated in our area. The objective of Ayurveda is very important. Swasthasya swastha rakshana. That what does it mean is the science is not only for the preventative approach, but this is also for the healing, management or treatment part, to use it to let the pain in the clients equal to patients in India, to guide them. So you can use Ayurveda as a mostly a preventative science which we follow on the daily basis. And then if you are suffering with certain conditions, certain challenges, then you can use it for management of your disease on the physical level, mental level, intellectual level, spiritual level, and emotional level. And I add two more here when I'm practicing in the West, social as well as environmental level. So Ayurvedic fundamentals are always meant to balance the body on the Tridoshik level, because the 5 elements outside are going to present in the body in the form of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, which is the energy of Vata, means equal to the energy of catabolism. Pitta means the energy of transformation, and Kapha means the energy of nourishing factor or anabolism, as per the concept, if you would like to understand this through the modern eyes. So this is a science which will bring the harmony in the body or the balance in the body on the mind level, body level, as well as consciousness level, which we call it as a spirit or soul, and which is very important in the patients who are suffering with cancer. So there is always a research on the plate when we are using Ayurveda for the wellness, and there are many research going on where we use Ayurvedic, few of the therapies, few of the herbs, few of the concepts through the Ayurveda to manage this disease, to manage this challenge very well through the Ayurvedic eyes. This is my interest always is explaining, sharing, creating the awareness, transforming my clients in their miseries which they are suffering during the breast cancer. And as we see this is the modern aspect, like we see the local area, which is our breast, and the accumulation, the content is like if we see the muscle and the fat, which we can easily see in the breast as an anatomical level. And then there are all other things, which is blood and lymph, which we will talk later on. So Ayurveda is a art. It is a tradition. It is a science. It is a concept which you use it on the day-to-day basis to bring the comfort on the people who are suffering with cancer. I hope we all are on the same page when we are, because I didn't hear all the previous lectures. Definitely we must have talked about, or we must have learned or went through all the modern aspects of breast cancer and what to do, how modern sees to this concept, what are the things we need to do, and whatever my previous speaker were explaining. It's all about our ways of dealing with Ayurveda, dealing with breast cancer on the regular basis through the modern eyes. But here we are talking about the Ayurvedic approach to bring the ease, to bring the comfort on the people who are already diagnosed, who are already suffering and who are already in the pain in breast cancer. So let us talk about. I'm going to cover few of the things what Ayurveda can use for the management, for the wellness, for the ease, and for the balance, bringing some comfort in the patients suffering with the breast cancer. So we are going to talk about the herbs, the concept of diet in Ayurveda, the concept of bringing the stress management, pain management through the Ayurveda by doing the certain alternative therapies, which is like massage and Shirodhara and Marma healing therapy, chakra healing, whatever ways we can bring the ease in the patient. Because again, when you know the words cancer, or when you are diagnosed with this concept, with the term cancer, the patient is already into a very deep psychological trauma, emotional trauma, physical trauma, which is already a breast cancer, which is already a granthi, or which is already a lump, or which is already a arbuda concept in Ayurveda. So our aim as an Ayurvedic doctor is not only to manage or guide the patients not to do certain things through the food and this, but also guide them on or heal them or make their life more comfortable, or bring the ease on their psychological challenge, on the emotional challenge, because as per Ayurveda, it is a integration of mind, body, and soul even in the process of the healing the physical breast cancer. So cancer is a term, and as Sushruta, the godfather of surgery, has very well mentioned this term under the Arbuda and Granthi and the line of treatment, even as per the Sushruta. And sometimes Vagbhata also mentioned many types of it, but that surgery is one of the main line of treatment. And along with the surgery, there is the guidelines to use Ayurveda in a beautiful way to bring this peace, this ease in their challenge life. So this is all about bringing back the ease for the patient. So the term cancer is like something is happening in the body where you do not have a control on the cell, right? So the concept of the cell is supposed to get birth, get used, and get destroyed as a normal function, on the normal physiology of the body. Like Vata and Pitta and Kapha, they are working in a harmony to bring this consciousness all the time in the body, to manage the harmony in the body. And this has to happen when you follow the concepts of Ayurvedic Vata timings, Pitta timings, Kapha timings, Ayurvedic rituals, Ayurvedic way of living, Ayurvedic food, Ayurvedic way of following the lifestyle as per your body type and constitution. That all is going to play a very important role in the process, because here a mutation is happening in the DNA of the cell, and that change in the consciousness in the cell is messed up, or it is disturbed, or it is not proper in the cancer. And that is what the cancer in Ayurveda, the very simple term, miscommunication. How about this? So there are many types which we are not going to talk about as Ayurveda has mentioned, but today breast cancer is one of the main leading cancer in the women, where women suffer. And there are many causative factors in the woman, and as we all know, Ayurveda has given very much importance to the causative factors, right? So when we are following the daily rituals, when we are following the from the morning to the bedtime routine in Ayurveda, which is called it as a dinacharya, ritucharya, ratricharya, they are all going to bring some day-to-day cleansing, day-to-day balancing, the day-to-day managing the biorhythms of the body. And that is what the Ayurvedic lifestyle, Ayurvedic rituals which are going to help the body not to form the excessive accumulations, which is called it as a ama, or the toxic substance, or the weak points in the body where the sthana vaigunya or ka vaigunya is going to happen in the body, and easy to attack is the place where we will have, in this case, breast is the location. So consecutive factors we all know, I'm not going to talk about this. So the concept here, which I will be sharing with all of you, is like body type of the person. The body type of the person is a prakriti, and when you know your prakriti, which is a combination of 5 elemental concept in your body on the physical level as well as on the mental level. If you know your prakriti and if you act or support your prakriti on the daily basis with your conscious efforts, with your mindful living, then there are everyday care and everyday self-love, everyday self-management, self-healing is going to happen. And this is what I'm observing in my clients from last 20 years plus of practice, and guiding my clients through the concept of diet and lifestyle and yoga and pranayama, explaining them, giving them the proper information through the Ayurveda, through their problems, through their current condition, and guiding them to make the ease in their challenges on the daily basis. So when diet is wrong, medicine is of no use. When diet is correct, medicine is of no need. Even our Hippocrates says the same term. And Ayurveda is talking about this concept from generations, thousands and thousands of years. So I would like to share one of my clients who was at the age of 25 to 30, she went to the breast lumpectomy. And she came to see me at the age of 68, and she died at the age of 72. What happened here is, like, when she went through the whatever that she had and the surgery she did, there was always some secretions coming out of her breast, and that happened with her for the rest of her life. And then when she came to Ayurveda, we talked about a lot of concept, how she can manage the wellness, the body strength, energy, reboosting, rejuvenating, rebalancing through the Ayurveda by the concept of diet, because the very much my clientele diet is most of the time either it is a tamasic food as per Ayurveda or rajasic food as per Ayurveda. So tamasic and rajasic food, as we know, they are the stimulant, and they are the very much like the food with no energy. It's a dark food, or you can say there is no vitality in that food or no nourishing factor in that food for the physical body as well as the mental body, because cancer patients are always going to suffer with the mental and physical and emotional and psychological, as well as the challenges in the surroundings. Okay, so we talked a lot about the concept of food, where she used to eat a lot of meat and kimchi, which is a very, very fermented food, and smoking and alcohol. These are very common when I see clients in my practice. So I always make sure that they are coming to the concept of diet, which is a sattvic diet, and herbs, which are like anti-inflammatory, immunomodulators, supporting the immune system, healing herbs. I will make sure that they understand these logics when they are practicing their daily rituals. Again, here in Ayurveda, as we are going in the cancer of the breast as well as on the regular basis, there are certain rituals everybody has to follow. Every person has to follow. It doesn't matter whether you're Vata, Pitta, Kapha, but definitely it matters to follow certain rituals by everyone. And out of this, there, do not hold your natural urges of the body. Natural urges has to come out of the body on the specific time, with the disciplined way, with the proper attention, with 100% cleansing on the daily basis. This has to happen. If you control, or if you mess up, or if you do not follow these rituals, the toxins, like for example, many times in my practice, even if we are very highly educated people, and the basic concepts are missing, which is like going to the bowel movement early in the morning. I do not see that in my practice, that my clients goes to the bowel movement on regular basis, where it creates toxins and travels the toxins in through the bloodstream into the whole body, where we see a pathology in a very different way in Ayurveda. Is like, make sure you wake up at a specific time, train your body, follow certain rituals, help yourself, clean yourself in the morning time before you offer any food to your physical body. Otherwise, the toxin continuation will keep going, and the fuel for the challenges like cancer will be there all the time available. So instead of you are healing and helping yourself, you are creating a well, or you are creating damage to your body by supporting and nourishing the cancer cells in the body. So again, the very important thing to, when people are going through the radiation, chemo, and all the different surgeries, and all the many sessions going through the clinics and hospitals and therapies, they are very much challenged. So Ayurveda can be a best support system. Ayurveda can be a best wellness approach for people when they are going before, after, and in between also, to manage their daily stress with these therapies, which is called it as a yoga, meditation, breathing techniques, exercises, which is I specifically prefer walking, light walking, slight walking, not a fast or brisk walking in these people. And then sattvic food, which is called it as a nourishing food for the 7 tissues or all the 3 doshas management. So why yoga is very important on the rituals or daily basis, or even in the people who are suffering with the breast cancer? Because yoga helps to improve the circulation in a specific way, and it brings the ease on the stress. It removes the pain from the physical body. So there are, along with this yoga, you need to do many other things also, but yoga really helps to increase the mental stamina, physical stamina, emotional stamina, or emotional energy. So it brings the calmness, it brings the peace in them. So that's why yoga is very important when people are suffering with the breast cancer. Yoga on the daily basis is a great tool to manage your central nervous system, to manage your highly centered glands in the body, which plays very important role in the cancer. Also, a great tool to follow is pranayama. Pranayama. The term itself indicates a lot of things. Very simple and beautiful, bringing a huge source of life or prana, or in simple term, like oxygen to the body, which our cancer cell doesn't like it. Cancer cell always hate the good source of prana, because it's hard for them to multiply. So it's very good to do the nice practices of pranayama on the daily basis, not only when you have a cancer. Okay, this is, again, every normal person can also do it. Also, this is a science of preventative approach. That's where you do it on the regular basis. But this is also a science for managing, healing, treating the challenges where people are going through the breast cancer. So pranayama is such a great tool to gain the control overall on the physical body, mental body, and emotional body. Pranayama is a good source, where you bring a huge source of oxygen and hold it in the body, so that in the kumbhaka, which are different stages of pranayama, inhale, hold, exhale, hold. So that hold is such a beautiful tool, which is explained in yogic and ayurvedic culture, that you can use this and enhance the supply of oxygen, which will help in the body for the proper circulation, proper release of the toxins, as well as the exchange of the excessive amount or accumulated amount of the carbon dioxide out of the body. So kumbhaka is always a great tool to practice. The better kumbhaka, the longer kumbhaka is the best thing you can practice or teach yourself to enhance your health and wellness during the breast cancer. Meditation, we all know what is meditation. So generally the patients or the clients, they are suffering with a lot of challenge on the mind and mental level. So mind body is always kind of fighting and tired with so many things bombarded during this with this term cancer as well as breast cancer. So meditation here is a very good source for a sufferer to calm down, to bring the peace, to heal their body from inside, right? Because everything is happening inside. The concepts of Ayurveda are beautiful. I'm every day I'm in love and deep love and getting more and more love about Ayurveda and yoga, because you understand this in your when you see so many people in your practice, and when you see how these simple tools are making a huge difference in their life, how they are making a good how these simple techniques are bringing such a ease in their day-to-day challenges, in their day-to-day peace, day-to-day wellness. So definitely use meditation. People who are suffering with breast cancer, just to calm down, give themselves some time to bring this connection to themselves and bring some peace and quiet the mind, which is always tired with the term. So it brings the deeper level relaxation, which is very important in the patients with the breast cancer, because cancer, when there is a stress, there is no healing. That for sure, I observe this, and I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a yoga practitioner, I'm an Ayurvedic doctor, and I'm a therapist. So I like to integrate every aspect what we have discussed and learned through the Vedas on certain conditions, which is cancer. So a healthy body in a healthy body stays a healthy heart, and a healthy soul, it makes it even better. So always make sure your physical body is healthy, clean, and light on the daily basis, so that you can manage your wellness not only on the physical, you're not helping only on the physical level, but you're going on the mind, mental level, as well as the soul level, deep Atmana concept, okay, which is connected with a lot of karmic chain, which we are not going to talk here, but I love that concept also. Definitely, when you're practicing all these meditation, pranayama, breathing techniques, there is a proper way of doing all of this. So if you're listening me and if you're going through this lecture, believe me, do not practice any yoga, do not practice any meditation, do not practice any breathing techniques, any mantra, chants, if you do not have a bowel moment that day in the morning time. Believe me, there is a huge concept in Ayurveda that you will be spreading the toxins all over the body instead of the toxins at the core of the bottom part of the body. With these activities, when you are not cleaned and you are not properly doing it, you will be spreading and creating hazards to yourself. So make sure you are clean first, your body is clean first, 100%, try to be 80, 90, 95% on the daily basis, and then only you come into these postures, which is Siddhasana, Padmasana, or whatever is your comfort level, and then you practice all these rituals, unless and until you ground yourself specifically the breast cancer people, they are always shaky and wobbly with so much anxiety, depression, challenge, mental challenge, emotional challenge. They need to be grounded first, and that's why you need to start with this kind of activities when you have a challenge. Definitely, yoga, grounding, stability, support, peace, these are all going to help you for your wellness on the day-to-day basis, to get rid of the pain which is you're holding on the physical level as well as mental level. Let's talk about some of the herbs and some of the things what Ayurveda suggests and Ayurveda uses to support the immune system in the body, because during the whole sessions, many sessions we go through chemo and radiation and this, so our weak immune is definitely going to get targeted. But immunity system has a direct connection with the digestive system in Ayurveda, and digestive system has a direct connection with the respiratory system in Ayurveda. So you cannot just talk about one system, you have to talk about the body as a whole and understand the body as a whole. Then only you are going to help your body. So here, even if I'm saying these are the human healing, human supporting herbs like guduchi and amalki, pipali, trikatu, ashwagandha, neem, haldi, these are all the beautiful the things which Ayurveda uses to support the human system. Again, I'm not going to go into the Rasavirya Vipak or the action of the herbs, but here ashwagandha is shown nice results to relax the central nervous system, and we use ashwagandha to support the mental aspect of the body. And ashwagandha has such a beautiful ability to hinder the growth of the cancer cells. So definitely ashwagandha is one of the choice of herb in Ayurveda, along with the ginger, which is a kapha vata shamak. That means kapha, as breast is located into the kapha area in the body, which is the upper chest area of the body. Always remember that. Nobody can move in the body without the help of the vata. Pittam pangu, kapha pangu, pango mala dhatava. If we remember this shloka, we always think about breast area, the dominant dosha, and the things along with it. So you have to always see through the Ayurvedic eyes, Ayurvedic principles, Ayurvedic way of thinking. You are not just considering breast part. You have to consider body as a whole and then target the local part. Ginger is one of the best healing herb or line of treatment in Ayurveda, where there are many research going on, and ginger is mentioned as one of the best potent anti-cancer herb. Gingerol, because of the gingerol in it, and definitely used in a tea form, chewing form, because certain things has to go in a specific way, and this has to go either through the water or through the chewing action. Then you will feel the tremendous beneficial effects of using ginger in a specific way. Garlic is another vata kapha shamak. Garlic is the best vata shamak herb, where it is going to manage the movements, the kinetic energy in the body, as it is it has all the 5 tests in it. It is such a beautiful herb to use in the chewing form rather than the cooking form. Again, choice is yours, but to get the utmost benefits when you're suffering with a cancer, when you're suffering with the breast cancer, make sure you let that garlic get very easily, very properly chewed into the mouth. As it is a very good herb to use through the food in the raw form, chewing form, instead of the pill form. Pill forms are always different, which I'm not going to talk in today's session. But garlic has such a effective, such a beautiful effect on the precancerous cells. It prevents the formation of compounds that cause the cancer. So garlic is one of the major food in the Ayurvedic medicine. We are not talking about the spiritual world. We are talking about the Ayurvedic concept for the breast cancer here in today's topic. So you can use it in a proper way. Turmeric is another beautiful herb to use as it is bitter and pungent. Generally, cancer loves sweet, sour, salty, right? Everybody loves sweet, sour, salty. In today's world, they are the great poisons for the current human bodies. Not all the time, but this is a sedentary lifestyle people or generation where these things creates a hazards in the body. So here we are going to use turmeric in the food form. Again, we are talking about the heating quality, our the action of the turmeric through the food. In a specific way, not through the pill form, because the action has to happen through the proper way and specific way. So you have to introduce turmeric in a specific way. Turmeric, as it has a curcumin in it, it is used in the preventative approach for the cancer, all types of cancer, but specifically topic is breast cancer today. So again, guduchi is another immunomodulator herb. It's a beautiful immunomodulatory herb where it is going to bring the harmony and balance in a vata, pitta, kapha. It is bitter in taste. So again, nobody likes bitter. For example, does anybody like to eat Karela chips, Karela ice cream, Karela tea? No, nobody likes it. So this is a good one, guduchi, to use in your guduchi is very easily available in India. I used to love that herb. It looks so beautiful. It's a nice wine. So I miss that freshness of the guduchi. I'm not yet still able to cultivate guduchi in my place. But I have 70 Ayurvedic herbs in my which I use on the daily basis for my clients in my practice, and I cultivate them and I use them. So guduchi is such a beautiful herb to use, as it enhances the host immune system by increasing the immunoglobulin and the blood leukocyte levels, and by the stimulation of the stem cell proliferation. It has a tremendous ability to reduce the solid tumor volume. So these immunostimulating properties can be used in the prevention of the tumor mediated immunosuppression, and hence used as a drug of choice. Neem is another one. But again, I would like to go through the the concept of wellness through the yoga. As yoga is, as the whole world is behind yoga. We are just taking the bits and pieces of the yoga. We are not understanding yoga as a full. So as an Ayurvedic doctor and as a yoga teacher, practitioner and a follower and a yogini, I would love to make you aware that yoga has to be done in a proper way by understanding your current condition and thinking what is going to support your challenge which you have at the present moment on each different levels of the body, which are 5 levels. So use the yoga to encourage the full and complete breathing and help to release the stress on the daily basis. Certain yoga poses, they are the best. Here again you see the child pose, Balasana is again one of the best to use to bring the stability and grounding effect in the people who are suffering with the cancer. Standing forward folds, they are going to stretch the whole body, open up the bigger joints in the body, which is the hip area where a lot of lower abdominal cleansing is going to happen. The lower abdominal area, which is dominated by Apanavayu, which helps the body to cleanse it out easily. So make sure you do these forward folds to bring this openings in the hip, openings in the hamstrings, openings in the calf, which is a backflow of the blood to the heart. It's like a second heart in the body. So make sure you practice certain poses by knowing the effects on the physical body, on the every level of the body. And these forward fold bends are beautiful to use to release the tension through the spine, neck and back, where the energy, the concepts of nerves which are related to the pain concept in the body are going to taken care. Again, this is a backflow of the blood, so it's very, very good to bring the supply, the venous supply, or help the body to cleanse, bring the blood to the heart, the deoxygenated blood. So it helps to take off the pressure of the spine and neck and helps for the circulation. Shavasana is one of the best, or every breast cancer person can practice this Shavasana to calm the mind so that they can bring a little bit calmness in the physical body. So if whenever you feel stressful and challenged and disturbed and suffering with pain and something, this is one of the best one to bring the alignment in the body and bring the stability in the body by doing the shavasana. Breathe properly, understand the concepts of the breathing, understand the logics of the breathing, understand where to focus, what to do when you are doing breathing. If you understand all these from the proper yoga teacher or proper person who knows Ayurveda as well as yoga and who integrates all these, then it's a great tool to use yoga for in the wellness of the cancer as a prophylactic action also. Meditation is mindful, always mindful. So there are many people, everybody's definition is of meditation is different, but my meditation is like a conscious living. And I will say that I am bringing some peace in the mind. That is what my meditation is. Also, this is very helpful for emotional wellness because you are giving some time to sit, ground yourself at one place and help the body to focus on the breath, to bring a proper pranic energy, which will help to bring the nice source of prana, oxygen, to the body, where a lot of chemistry change is going to happen, where with the help of the kumbhaka, we are going to hold that oxygen more, exchange of the O2, CO2, that concept is going to get enhanced with the help of these practices, mindful practices. Again, meditation is awesome to practice in the people who are going through the radiation, chemo. You can meditate not only when you're deceased. That is the problem with our generation, is like, I do something when something happens to me. We need to get rid of this concept. We need to practice Ayurveda, which is a tradition, which is a science, which is a way of living. And that is what our Sanatani Dharma is also teaching us from long time, that way of living life. And Ayurveda is a science where you have a wonderful opportunity to understand who you are, what is your body type, what is your constitution, what is your chemistry made up of, which is the prakriti of the person, and what is your current condition of the body, which is called it as the vikruti, or the current discomforts or miseries in the body. Understand all of this and act on it through every angle, which is a huge, Ayurveda is a huge tree. And there are many 14, 15, 20 different ways of healing your body. Hundreds of therapies and hundreds of herbs and hundreds of ways of looking at that individual. So Ayurveda is a very individual, unique approach to help the person. So be mindful about it, even in the breast cancer. So mindfulness is very important. Always it helps to settle down the mind. It helps to bring improve the anxiety, reduce the depression, reduce the anxiety, stress reduction. It's a great tool to do that. And food. Sattvic food, again, I'm not going into the details because Sattvic concept is very well explained in Ayurveda, and do not go follow the things which are like Rajasic and Tamasic, because it is going to increase the challenges on your breast cancer. Diet is supposed to be always 6-test diet, but again, 6 tests, out of the 6 tests, you understand whether the person is Pitta and Vata and Kapha, and make the changes for your client. It's a very very important that Ayurvedic your home kitchen, your all the spices is like a pharmacy, Ayurvedic pharmacy. So if you are wise enough, or if you would like to know from a proper Ayurvedic doctor that what can you use in your kitchen on the daily basis to manage your challenges, how you can help and heal your breast cancer, because breast has a deep relationship. Breast is a totally stanyavastrotos, which is mentioned in Ayurveda as a whole different specific channel. So you need to understand the channel, you need to understand the local, you need to understand the involvement of the muscle and fat, involvement of lymph and lymph glands, lymphatic system. So you need to understand all these along with the doshas, subtypes of the doshas, and location and the severity, whether it is a benign, whether it is a metastatic, has a effect or traveling through the whole body, or going spreading into the surrounding areas and organs and tissues. So you need to understand all of this. So diet, if you give the diet which is a sattvic diet, it is going to bring a lot of healing aspect in the physical, mental, spiritual, emotional level. So definitely use garlic, ginger, turmeric, black pepper, green tea, depending upon if you don't want. There is a question mark about the green tea, which I do not want to talk, but you can definitely have the cumin, coriander teas if you are really interested to help and heal the body. So probiotics is always mentioned, like takram concept is always there to nourish the body. So you need to have a proper concepts of the wholesome food is like where you have some grains, some lentils, some vegetables, some fruits, some dairy, some oils, nuts. That all has to be there in present in the food on the daily basis, so that you can manage your vata, pitta, kapha on the daily basis. But most of the time in my practice there is a huge challenge, because most of the time people either eat salad or people either eat smoothie concept, or like a tall smoothie for the breakfast, smoothie for the dinner. There are variations of eating and using the smoothie concept with fruits and vegetables, frozen berries, blah blah blah, everything together with the protein powder and this and that, which is a very different concept. Ayurveda has a very different eye for this, because if your Agni is weak and if your digestion is not helping you properly, then you are going to suffer, and whatever you are feeding from here is not going to get absorbed unless and until you digest it properly in your stomach, which is a Jatragni concept in Ayurveda. There are many types of Agnis, 13 types of Agnis, but here we are just sticking with the, again, we had to go to the Dhatavagni concept, which is related with the lymph, which is a plasma tissue, as well as blood, which is a rasavastrotas, which is a blood tissue, and the third one, muscle tissue, as well as a fat tissue. So you need to think on the not only on the dosha level, you have to go on the dhatu level, you have to go on the mala level, you have to think as a whole, because the concept itself, the concept of health in Ayurveda is samadoshaha, samagnischa, samadhatu, malakriyaha, prasanna atma indriya manah swastha iti abhidiyate. That means the health is not only, the health is going to come, or there will be a health in the body when you have a harmony in dosha, dhatu, mala concept. We know all doshas and dhatus and malas. And then they also explain prasanna atma indriya mana. What's the purpose of this atma here? I like when I was in college, I never thought about this concept, but believe me, they are the wonderful concept, very well explained, and very well, they makes a lot of sense in the process of the healing. So students, if you are in the college, try to understand these concepts from your teachers on a deeper level. Thank you. Then we have the detox and cleansing program, which is a Panchakarma program. We can use Panchakarma to remove the toxins of the body. There are purukarmas, or where we use the digestion and digestive agent, carminative action, and cleansing, like giving some of the herbs to cleanse the bowel on the daily basis. Then abhyangam, which is like every day you are doing some massages. Also you are doing the massage here as a preventative and disease management or disease wellness approach. You can do your breast massages by, every person has to do this on the daily basis, not only the female, even the male, because we also have like a male and female, we all have the same organs. Only it's more active in female and less active in male, but that is the only concept on the glandular level and hormonal level. We can talk about it maybe in some other topic. So Pradhana Karma is like the main action in the Panchakarma. We use, there are 5 main karmas, but major karmas, detox in the Panchakarma. But see the best depending upon what your strength of the client has. Whether the client has weak strength or medium strength or large strength, you need to understand the strength first before you offer any of these karmas. Then Shirodhara is a great tool to de-stress yourself. It helps the nervous system. It helps to reduce the stress. So this is a beautiful therapy to offer. It's a continuous flow of oil on your third eye, which is that's where the this is the place where the mind and intellect, the buddhi, comes together, and then this is a nice place to manage, nourish, and enhance the circulation to the brain, and enhance the memory, and nourish the body, nourish the mind concept and brain concept. It rejuvenates, it stimulates, it takes care of the digestion, it helps the body to calm down the excessive vata, because vata is the energy multiplication, cutting. So vata brings the kinetic energy. This vata brings the catabolism action in the body. So this is a beautiful therapy to calm down the excessive vata in the body, and it also activates the pituitary gland and relieves the fatigue, tension, anxiety, stress, and the pain concept. Shirodhara is always done on the top part of the body, where sixth and seventh chakra, which are the highly active centers, or higher centers in the body, which are connected to the cosmic energy. So this is a beautiful place to do many works like Marma work, Shirobhangam, Shirobasti, Shirodhara, Shiropichu. You can do many therapies on your client by watching and observing your own client. Okay, so it helps the person, and it brings back the confidence in them. So even if you bring a one step positive change in them, 1% positive change in your patients, it's a beautiful work by that practitioner to make that the pain subsides in your patients. Because paropakarartham idam shariram, that is what the definition of our sharir is. We are here to serve others, and on top of it, you are an Ayurvedic doctor, you are a yoga teacher, you are a healer. So you have a more responsibility to connect with your patients and give them some ease in their challenges. Abhyanga is a great tool to enhance the circulation. Again, like breathing is another great tool. Here we have Abhyanga, which is going to help to improve the circulation through the body. And we all know how it is going to affect, because we understand the pathology and physiology here. Massage actions are different. There are different ways of doing massages, and massage is not only done in the disease form. You can do massage on the daily basis in the Ayurvedic rituals, under the Dinacharya, even under the Rutucharya, we use the massages. So it reduces the anxiety and depression, and reduces the cancer-related pain. It is very important to understand this logic, cancer-related pain. Okay, it improves the well-beingness, vigor. It increases the energy, vigor, and help our immune system. So it's very good when you are suffering with challenges on the lymphatic system as well as circulatory system. Other therapies, Ayurveda has many therapies to offer. Marma therapy, pranic healing, meditation, yoga nidra, marma chikitsa, music therapy. These are all the beautiful points you can do, stimulate on the daily basis to keep your body's vigor, okay? Because marmas are the points which helps the physical body as well as the energetic body to bring the calmness, peaceness in the mind and body and organs and tissues and the basic unit of the body, which is cell. Okay, so let's talk about few of the things, the concept of Ayurvedic food is. And I always give more preference. I always make sure when client is coming to me, I go through each and every branch of Ayurveda, which is like yoga, meditation, in the healing branches, okay? So yoga, meditation, breathing techniques, the pranayama, herbs, the lifestyle changes, modifications, proper, which breathing technique, out of many breathing techniques, which one is proper to the client, which one is proper to their condition. So you need to think on a very big scale. And then you offer the healing therapies, which is manual therapies, depending upon what kind of cancer it is, where the challenge is in that client. And cancer, here we are talking breast cancer, so there are many massages you can do for the breast cancer to take care of the muscle tissue, fat tissue, and the circulation in that area, along with managing the lymph gland health and wellness. So I think I do not want to go into so many things here, but Ayurveda is always a great tool to use on the daily basis to manage the health and wellness in our people who are in our clients, in our patients who are suffering with a breast cancer. And this is my way of doing some healing, doing some body work, doing some teachings about the therapeutic medical yoga and therapeutic medical breathing techniques and therapeutic medicinal mantras and chanting and prayers and all the tools, whatever you can give it to your clients by observing them, by understanding them. By in the consultation, you have enough time to understand your client on every level, how they are, where they are, what is their level of growth, where you can touch them at the present moment when they come to see you, and where you want to take them, where you want to heal them, where you want to enhance or boost their stamina and confidence and energy. And there are so many things as an Ayurvedic doctor we have for our clients to offer. So Ayurveda is such a beautiful science, and I'm in love with Ayurveda. I live Ayurvedically. I practice Ayurveda. I practice yoga, and I have done the two things that I have two books until now, which is where I have published two books, and my books name itself is Healing the Mind, Body, and Soul. And the tag is self-awakening to reset, reboost, and rebalance. So this is my first book, which I try to teach my clients the whole concepts of basics of Ayurvedic pathology, Ayurvedic physiology, and where they are at the present moment. And in the second part of my book, I tried to bring all these concepts of healing the mind, body, and soul is the second one. In the first part, the second part, it's all about the food awareness. So food awareness is very important in the Ayurvedic healing, in the Ayurvedic line of treatments. If food is wrong, nothing can change the chemistry in the body. So you make sure when you are suffering with cancer and breast cancer and challenges with the cyst and lumps and vidradhi and tumors and accumulations and excessive mass in the body, then you understand this concept of Ayurvedic food for your health and wellness, because Ayurveda has such a beautiful eye to look at your to offer you the best for your condition which you are suffering at that moment. And then Ayurveda has a great tool. In the second part, I have done the tools of yoga and mudra for your healing on the day-to-day basis. So tools of yoga, and you can use these different healing modalities on the day-to-day basis as a part of your dinacharya and as a part of your ritucharya and as a part of your ratricharya, so that the daily mind-body connection will be alive. Daily, there will be a deep connection between your mind and body, so that on the daily basis, what every cell does in the body, what is happening inside the body, that the basic unit, which is a cell, is getting God, right? Giver, observer, destroyer. So it's like getting produced, getting used, and supposed to get the natural death. But here, in this cancer concept, this communication is messed up somewhere. And we need to bring back that deeper connection where cells supposed to die after specific time, after specific use in the body. So you make sure that, so we make sure in Ayurveda that when you follow these rituals, your body is going to be healthy, and your body is going to be in the preventative mode rather than the rather than welcoming the diseases in the body, rather than welcoming the challenges for the body. And then the terms can be different. You can name it cancer, you can name it something else. There are many terms we can name it. Name is not important in Ayurveda. What is important in Ayurveda, school time for our kids. This is 5:30 a.m. Ayurveda has such a beautiful approach for your wealth, for your well-beingness, and for your wellness. So if you want to enhance your health, and if you want to enhance your energy, or if you want to be healthy, then I will suggest you, wherever you are in the world, try to see a proper traditional Ayurvedic doctor. Try to connect with a person who practices Ayurveda, not only on the clients, not only on the patients, but who also lives Ayurvedically, who follows the rules of Ayurveda, who follows the concepts of well-beingness of the client, of the patient, on every levels of the body, which is the physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, and sensory wellness of sensory wellness, because all they are contributing factor in the formation of the disease in Ayurveda. So you need to bring the balance on daily basis in every of these aspects through your way of living your life. I hope this whole concept of Ayurvedic approach for cancer, as well as breast cancer, as well as many diseases, will get covered in this topic through this talk. I hope this is helpful. Thank you for giving me a wonderful opportunity, the Shaskya Ayurveda College, Usmanabad. And thank you, Dr. Veena Patil, for inviting me today as a presenter here on our forum. And this month, October, is a month which is a breast cancer awareness month, and I am delighted to be here. I'm very happy to share my ways of looking at this concept of this term, arbuda or granthi, or breast cancer. I hope we can have a little bit different ways of looking at our patients and guiding them and healing them for their beautiful journey, whatever they have in their hand, wherever they are at their stages of the cancer. Thank you once again. Namaste. I hope this will be helpful.
This was indeed a brilliant session, ma'am. You nicely explained how holistic approach of Ayurveda can be found helpful by using our traditional herbs, sattvic diet, and lifestyle modifications in the management of CA breast and bringing ease to the patients. It was a pleasure to hear you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Singh.
Due to some delay of time, Dr. Sujata Kadam ma'am couldn't join us for the concluding session. So, I would like to welcome our Assistant Professor of PTSR Department, Dr. Umesh Agawne sir, to conclude this webinar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kiran. Now, just I'm going to conclude the sessions. There are a total of 4 speakers which have delivered lecture today, and today's national international webinar. First of all, Dr. Rajguru, who was a well-known gynecologist in Osmanabad city. He has shared his view about breast cancer. Sir has very well explained the various aspects of breast cancer, like the incidence rate of the breast cancer, factors affecting the CA breast, then the clinical features of CA breast, and most important parts of the CA breast and its techniques, how to diagnose the CA breast. And lastly, he explained the prevention of CA breast and the management of CA breast. Secondly, Dr. Bharati Kumaramangalam from National Institute of Ayurveda. She has delivered his lecture. I would like to highlight her points. How this Sutika Paricharya, then Mithya Upakram during menstruation, menstrual regimen, then the upacharas, excessive sugar intake, and what is the relation of excessive sugar intake with breast cancer, relation of menstrual life with breast cancer, and how can it affect the development of CA breast. And she has well explained about the Ayurvedic aspects of the CA breast and the management of CA breast also. Then the third lecture was delivered by Dr. Balwande sir. who is a well-known radiologist in Usmanabad city. He has put a light on investigations which are done for diagnosing breast carcinoma, how the mammography, ultrasonography, and MRI, these techniques, how can we use for early detection of the breast cancer. Thirdly, Dr. Aruna Patki madam, she has delivered a lecture on the holistic approach to treat CA breast. Her lecture was very helpful and informative, and how the traditional herbs will help to prevent the breast cancer, and how the lifestyle, the diet, the yoga, all these modalities can help for treating or preventing the breast cancer. Thank you. Then next to Dr. Kiran.
Sujata ma'am had to attend an emergency meeting, hence sir had to conclude this session. So thank you so much, sir, for this. Now, as we are approaching to the end of this webinar, I request respected Dr. Bhageshri Khoth ma'am to give vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiran. Honorable patrons, Dean Sir, HOD Patil Ma'am, eminent speakers, and all our delegates, a very good afternoon to one and all. I am grateful to our guest of honor, Honorable Professor Dr. Kuldeep Raj Kohli Sir, for giving us the permission to organize this international webinar and your valuable blessing and kind words, sir. I would like to thank Honorable Professor Dr. Kalidas Sawan sir for being a part of the event and giving your useful insight in this webinar. I thank Honorable Professor Dr. Srikant Deshmukh sir for embracing this event and for your feedback. I express my gratitude to Honorable Professor Dr. Sujata Kadam Madam, Dean AIA, New Delhi. I express my gratitude Dr. Wange sir for joining it and for giving your valuable piece of advice. I am glad to thank Dean Honorable Professor Dr. N.S. Gangasagre sir for allowing us to conduct this webinar and for continuously guiding throughout us. I hereby express my gratitude to eminent speakers Dr. Rajguru sir, Dr. Bharti ma'am, Dr. Balwande sir, Dr. Aruna Patki ma'am, and Dr. Sujata ma'am for their valuable expressions, valuable sessions and guidance in presentation, diagnosis and management of breast cancer awareness. I am grateful to organizing committee members for conducting the webinar and making it success. I appreciate and thank all our delegates for being a part of this webinar. I heartily express my gratitude to Dr. Smita, Dr. Diksha, Dr. Kiran or Dr. Ashlesha for conducting this event. Thank you all our faculty members, staff, PG of JSC Usmanabad for attending this webinar. And lastly, I thank all the technical members for helping us in conducting this webinar successfully. Thank you all of you. With the permission of our Dean, Dr. Gangasagre sir, I hereby declare end of this webinar. Thank you very much.
Recording.
Hello friends, welcome, good morning. This is Aruna Patki, Doctor of Ayurvedic Medicine, a yoga teacher, and today, as this October is the month of breast awareness, breast cancer awareness, this is a morning session. Today was a very early morning international presentation for breast cancer wellness, the prophylactic as well as palliative approach of Ayurveda for breast cancer. So I hope you enjoyed your time with us. This is once again Aruna Patki, doctor of Ayurvedic medicine and a yoga teacher, bringing the traditions of Ayurveda and yoga for your health and wellness on the physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, psychological, social, as well as environmental level. So stay connected with us. If you have any questions, you can call us. You can follow us on YouTube as well as YouTube Ayurvedic Health and Wellness Center by Dr. Aruna Patki, or Facebook Aruna Patki as well as Ayurvedic Health and Wellness Center, or Ayurvedic Food and Nutrition. These are all the different pages you can connect with us. Once again, namaste. Take care, and this is a 5:30 a.m. Today I'm way ahead of the Brahma Muhurta. So the Brahma Muhurta is supposed to be, I believe, now I don't see it yet, but today I woke up at 2 a.m., got ready at 3:30, and I was ready for my lecture at 4 a.m. But the lecture got delayed by 30 minutes, so this is now 5:41 a.m. I will take a leave. Let me go. I have to work from 7 a.m. So I will talk to you later on or see you later on. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.